There's something achingly beautiful about stillness, the way it carries feelings too delicate for words. Not every glance needs a reply, and not every fluttering heartbeat needs to be named. Sometimes the quiet says more than language ever could. That's how it began. Elliot had moved into the building a little over a year ago. There was nothing extraordinary about the moment we first crossed paths, no warm welcome or drawn-out conversation. He was simply a quiet neighbor with steady eyes and a calming presence that softened the hallway whenever we passed. He'd hold the elevator door when my hands were full or give a polite nod when we bumped into each other. Once, I returned a package left outside in the rain. Small, unremarkable gestures, yet they left ripples that lasted longer than I expected. One September evening, my grocery bag split halfway up the stairs, sending apples rolling across the landing. Elliot was just returning from a run, his t-shirt damp with sweat, earbuds dangling around his neck. Without hesitation, he crouched to gather the scattered fruit. "You all right?" he asked, his voice low, unhurried. I forced a small laugh, embarrassed. "Just clumsy." He didn't tease, only nodded gently. "Happens to the best of us." From that day, something shifted. Our interactions became slightly longer, brief chats in the lobby, casual hellos on early coffee runs, small talk during late-night elevator rides. Always light, always surface level, yet there was an attentiveness in the way he listened, as though he noticed the things I didn't say. One night, I mentioned offhand that I hadn't cooked in days. The following evening, a warm container of lentil stew appeared at my door. No note, just a faint knock and the scent of something homemade. Of course I knew it was him. We never spoke about it. We didn't have to. Spring arrived with steady rain. One evening, we both darted beneath the same awning. Outside the building, trying to avoid getting drenched. I was laughing softly, brushing droplets from my jacket, when he pushed his wet hair from his forehead and smiled. "Maybe the rain just wanted us to slow down," he said. I looked up. He was close enough that I could feel the warmth of his body through the cool air. "I like talking to you," Elliot said quietly. It was simple, but something in my chest gave way. From then on, there was an unspoken pull, still innocent, still careful, but undeniable. I learned he was a photographer, though he rarely mentioned it. One weekend, he showed me a stack of black and white prints, a child chasing soap bubbles, an old man feeding pigeons, a couple holding hands on a park bench. Tiny pieces of life, frozen in time. "You see things other people miss," I told him. "Maybe I just slow down enough to notice," he replied. One crisp night, I curled up on my balcony with a blanket and a mug of tea, not realizing he was on the other side of the divider. We sat in companionable silence for several minutes before he spoke. "You look exhausted," he said softly. "Long day," I admitted. A moment later, a hand appeared over the divider holding a chocolate bar. I accepted it, smiling faintly. "Chocolate fixes most things," Elliot murmured. That night, I wondered what it might feel like if the walls between us, literal and otherwise, simply vanished. A few days later, I found a photograph slipped under my door. It was of me on my balcony, cradling my cup with wind-tangled hair and a soft, private smile. At the bottom, in small letters, he'd written, "You looked peaceful." My heart caught. I stepped outside, clutching the photo, and found him leaning casually against the railing, his camera at his side. He didn't look over, but the silence felt weighted, like he was waiting. I wanted to ask about the photo, about everything, but the words stayed stuck. That night, sleep eluded me. The quiet was too loud. I finally stepped outside again with a warm glass of milk. Can't sleep? It came Elliot's voice from the other side. I shook my head. One of those nights. After a pause, he said, I could use some company, if you want to come over. His apartment was warm, softly lit, music playing low. A book lay open on the couch. I perched beside him, unsure what to say. You're a good photographer, I said finally. He smiled. You're a good subject. Why did you give me that picture? He hesitated, then said, because it was the first time I'd ever seen you truly at ease. And I wanted you to see what I see. My heart was hammering. Elliot, do you feel it too? This, whatever it is? He met my gaze. I've been trying not to, but yes. We sat in heavy silence, both aware of what had already been decided in our hearts. Slowly, I leaned my head against his shoulder. He didn't move away. Instead, his hand found mine, steady, certain. After that, everything felt different. Not louder, just clearer. Morning greetings turned into lingering evenings. Shared meals, unhurried walks, conversations that stretched long after the world went quiet. One night as we walked back from dinner, I found myself saying, I used to think love had to be loud. He glanced at me. But now, I added with a small smile, I think maybe love lives in the quiet moments. The showing up. The noticing. Elliot reached out and tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear. I see you, he whispered. A few nights later, it rained again. We stood beneath the awning shoulder to shoulder, the air electric with unspoken things. I turned to him. You've been part of my life for a year now. This time, I didn't let the silence swallow what I wanted to say next.